Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered and Unfunctional. I am your host, Mandy, and I am here with my bestie, Sashi.
Hello.
And today we're going to have a active conversation. Want to rope you guys into it, so please leave comments because I know at some point this is going to touch buttons for everyone. And we're going to be talking about, are you truly doing self-care or are you avoiding shit that you need to not be avoiding? We've all been there. I've been there. Sasha's been there. Every single person in this entire world has been there. I want you guys to understand that self-care doesn't necessarily mean comfort. It doesn't always mean I'm going to take a bubble bath, go to bed early, do a face mask, get a manicure. Because can we do that every single day? I mean, like, I guess certain people can, but like realistically doesn't make sense for all of us. And sometimes self-care is not any of those things at all.
Yeah.
Sometimes self-care is here, I'll be real vulnerable on this one, making a dentist appointment as an adult when you haven't been in 6 years. That was me. That was
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable, but that was literally physical self care that needed to be done. Sometimes it is having a very uncomfortable conversation with a loved one, a friend, maybe your spouse or partner, maybe a family member. It doesn't always feel good, it doesn't always feel comfortable. I want to just kind of open the floor for an organic conversation because I think it comes up a lot in, well, specifically because we're coaches and we communicate with a lot of different people. It is a universal experience. If you ask like a client or even like a friend, hey, did you ever do XYZ that you said you needed to get done? And they're like, oh, no, insert excuse. We've both heard it. So, how do you, either as a friend or a coach, because I think sometimes the approaches are different, have those conversations with people that you objectively can see that they're giving an excuse for not taking care of themselves or avoiding doing what they need to do?
I mean, I just like asking questions. So, funny enough, I was on the phone with one of my clients the other day, and she is, a college, she's a student, she works, she has a lot going on, and she started, kind of trying to find this balancing act of hanging out with friends and socializing because it was kind of like self-care in a way of like having community and like that kind of aspect. And I kept asking her questions on the phone where I could tell that they were making her uncomfortable. And she quite literally more than once said, I really feel called out right now. Like, I don't really want to answer this because I know that the answer is exactly what I've been avoiding. And that was, hey, it's okay to be a little bit bored. Like, it's okay to say no. One of the things that you mentioned in the just now, what you were saying, which was incredible about there's physical ways to practice self-care, like making a dentist appointment. Funny enough, I had my first one in 6 years, actually, this year.
Shut up.
I swear to God, I thought my wisdom teeth were coming in because I was having such bad
Yeah.
pain. Turned out my wisdom teeth are fully in. And the pain that I was having is because I've been grinding my teeth so bad from stress. But sometimes self-care is also having uncomfortable conversations with yourself.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned having it with other people, with friends, with family, with loved ones, with clients, with dogs, I don't know, whatever. But sometimes it is also with yourself and being able to tell yourself no, being able to not make excuses for yourself, being able to validate your own feelings that, like, hey, you're not crazy for feeling burnt out and feeling exhausted and feeling tired. And that is immediately a sign for you to practice actual self-care, which, yeah, that might look like the physical aspect of things of take a really hot shower, get off your phone, stop scrolling on social media, set some limitations and boundaries with yourself, even though that might not feel comfortable, that is self-care, but also get real with yourself of where am I causing myself more pain and like avoiding true self-care because there's this idea of what self-care is versus what it actually is. And it looks so
Mm.
different for everyone.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Because I know some people where they're like, oh, my self-care is going on a 3 mile run. And to me, that's like self-torture.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I'm good. I'll take the
Yeah.
bubble bath and the face mask. Um,
Yeah.
but that's like a really good point too about having like being honest with yourself. And I think that's something that I frequently see or hear about is well, I really want to I want to lose weight. I want to lose body fat, but I also want food freedom. And it's like, okay, so if we're not seeing results, this is where we have to be honest with ourselves and not avoid the conversation. If your behaviors aren't backing up what you're saying, like you need to acknowledge that your current choices are not aligned with what you claim to want for yourself. And that's avoidance. I guess my point in that is the more honest you can be with yourself, since you were bringing up self conversations, the faster you're going to get to goals and the faster you accept that you are avoiding things and avoiding discomfort and avoiding being honest with yourself, it actually gets easier to
It
achieve those
does.
goals.
It
Like,
does. 'Cause then you kind of stop bullshitting yourself, and it's like, all right, you're holding up a stained glass mirror for what reason?
yeah.
Hold up a clean freaking mirror to yourself and see what is actually there, not the colorful colors on a stained glass one that make everything look beautiful and pretty. Like, no, hold up a real freaking mirror, see where your faults are, where you need to make changes in order to actually take care of yourself. Because what is self-care? It is the action of taking care of yourself. And that isn't stuffing your face with Reese's Pieces peanut butter cups or whatever the case is, just because that's what feels good in the moment or that's what you're craving or that's what you want, which I think is also a really important point to mention is just because something feels good doesn't mean that it is good for you. Just because you want that to be self-care doesn't actually mean that you are proactively taking care of yourself doing so. Like
Mhm.
maybe in that moment where you get that dopamine hit and that sugar rush, and I know we've spoken about this in previous episodes where when you're having that like fight or flight, super high
Mhm.
stress, and you go for that like the sweets and the candies and the food, it essentially helps like regulate you internally. But at the end of the day, that's not you actively taking care of yourself. That's you putting on a band-aid that's not even waterproof. It's not
Ooh.
even a waterproof band-aid.
Oh, I just like pictured the soggy band-aid floating in like a pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, don't do that to yourself. That's disgusting. That visual.
And
Uh,
not to knock having sweets or yummies, like
mhm,
that's not the point at all, or saying that you can't do nice, relaxing, stereotypical self-care things like a bubble bath, getting your nails done. I mean, I get my nails done every 3 weeks. That is, I love it. I mean, even though I don't love sitting throughout the nail appointment, I love getting my nails done. That is a self-care thing to me. Um, Putting a hair mask in, laying out in the sun, reading a good book, getting the hell away from my phone, getting on my walking pad and just getting in some steps, like just to kind of like
mhm.
walk it off, whatever it is. That again is what I've identified as my true self-care and what actually makes me feel good after. Now, if your self-care is making you feel good in the moment, but not actually making you feel good,
Bingo.
then it is
Um,
self-sabotage.
that's a good distinction because it's not you, it's not to be demonized if you do want a sweet treat. I don't know
No,
one.
not at all.
Yeah, I don't know one person that's like, "Oh no, I hate that. That doesn't feel good." But I think you make a really important distinction between in the moment versus after. And the other distinction I would make is this a pattern? So, like, if you notice that you keep having like one of those mini things of ice cream every time you're stressed out, instead of actually being like, what do I need in this moment? Oh, why do I keep gaining weight? Oh, I'm stressed. It must be the cortisol. No, it's your pattern, and you're avoiding actually taking care of yourself. If you're actually stressed, instead of 9 times out of 10 reaching for the Ben and Jerry's, do you ask yourself what you need? Do you need movement? Okay, go to the gym, get some endorphins. Boom, stress is handled. What do you need a nourishing meal because you're having cravings? Okay, boom. Give me a freaking sweet potato, put some steak on there with avocado, a little pico. Oh my God, very healthy, nourishing, hormone fancy like meal right there. Probably you're not gonna be like, oh, I absolutely need the Ben and Jerry's after you eat that.
Yeah.
Like,
It's actually funny that you say that because one of my clients, we started working together just about a month ago, and her and I were having a conversation, and she tells me, she's like, you know what, this is the first time in probably 10 years that I don't have cravings, that I'm not craving something and like reaching for things that I know I have in my house. She has, chocolate and candies and whatnot. She loves snacks and treats and yummies, which as everyone does. And she told me that for the first time, she does not have those cravings or and binge on that food because guess what? She's eating 4 to 5 meals a day and they're whole nutritious foods. They are hitting not just her macronutrients, which protein, fats, and carbs, but they're also hitting her micronutrients. So she's getting enough iron, she's getting enough potassium, she's getting enough fiber, she's getting her vitamins, she's getting everything. So she doesn't have that craving for that chocolate and those sweets or those super salty foods or whatever. And granted, as women, when our periods come around and whatnot, like, yeah, sure, you can have those moments where you have a little craving or the idea of something sounds great. I mean, I literally texted AJ yesterday. I was like, can you please check if there's the coconut creamy Diet Dr. Pepper at Publix because I'm really craving that right now. And like, that to me is like my thing, like a diet soda that I'll have once in a week, if even, and enjoy it. And it's not great for you, but that's my little treat and I enjoy it and I like it. But even there, it's like it wasn't in the store. He couldn't find it. It wasn't the end of the world. By the time he got home, I already didn't want it anymore. Like I made myself some tea. I had my meal. I was like, oh, okay, like I actually might have just been dehydrated and should have drank more water. And that was really it. Like a lot of the times your cravings are actually because you're under eating and you're not fueling your body properly and you're not eating enough. Hence why there's like that stereotypical, like, oh, when you're sad and upset and you eat a tub of ice cream, it's like, all right, well, also while you're sad and upset, a lot of the times you're not eating throughout the day, right? And then you call it self-care by sitting down in front of a TV, watching The Notebook, and eating a freaking bucket of ice cream.
Mhm.
And you justify it by saying that, oh, well, I didn't eat anything today. Oh, so eating 1,500 calories in one serving with 5 grams of protein in it is fine? No.
No,
That's that's self-destruction.
it really is. I was gonna say I'll give everyone a pass to do that like once a year when some big life thing turns you on your ass. But like even then, the goal is to accumulate enough tools in your toolbox that you don't even want to do that because you understand like there are healthier ways to cope. Don't get me wrong, like when I'm not on prep, I have occasionally had those moments where I crave, this is going to sound so weird. It's not like a food itself, but I crave going back to when I was in college and getting my laptop and binge watching Gilmore Girls and just sitting there and like eating Andy's chocolate mints. And like in my brain, I think it's more like a craving for the nostalgia than it
Mm,
actually is for that. Because there was like one time I did try and like recreate it, thinking like, oh, this is self-care for my soul, right? That's what I tried to like justify it as. I sat down, started doing it, got like 4 or 5 Andes mints in, and I was like, this doesn't feel good. Like, this isn't what I want. I just like missed that memory or that point in time. And then I stopped doing it because I'm like, this isn't helping me. This is actually making me feel not good.
yeah.
So,
And I mean, to add to that, when I'm not in a deficit or in a bodybuilding prep or in a very intentional cut, and I'm in my lifestyle phase or in a growth phase where it is appropriate and acceptable for me to be having outside meals, free
mhm,
meals. Granted, these are very controlled, and I've also healed my relationship with food to the point where I could enjoy without overindulging. I think that's a really big thing is if you can't enjoy without overindulging, you're not there yet. And that's okay because it took me a really long time to get there without eating until the point where I felt sick. But when I'm not in a prep and when we have our own little like date nights, we'll either make a really good meal at home together, which I make fit my macros, and then we'll either order like a donut from Parlor Donuts or something and split it and it's delicious and I have my little fourth or my little half of it. He has his parts and we call that a day. Once a month, maybe give or take, depending on how I'm feeling, how things are looking, where my goals are at, and if I feel good about it, we'll order poke, we'll get sushi, that will be my free meal. And my clients know, like if you're my client and you're listening to this, like 75% of my girls have free meals, outside meals. Every single Saturday, every single Sunday, go enjoy a meal. Go get sushi, go get a burger, go get this, go get that. But that is also A, clients who I know can handle that without going off the
Mhm.
rails. B, that's clients where when if and when I say, hey, we're not doing this anymore because we need to lock in or like you're kind of overdoing it a little bit or we got to reel it in, they'll be able to do that without pushing back on me. And see, there are also clients that I've been working with for over half a year now. We've improved their relationship with food and they're not having that free meal in a way of this is my death row meal, so I'm gonna shove my face. If
Yeah.
any, their bodies respond so incredible to the free meals that I'm like, shit, have two. Like you look
Yeah.
so good. Your body responds, the food's going where it needs to go. You're not in a deficit right now. You're not in a prep. You're in a growth phase. Your body's loving this food. That's really great data for me. That's really great. And that's at the end of the day, like when you're living a lifestyle where you're married or have kids or have a family or have a husband or have friends and want to be a part of social gatherings or even just do something special with your husband or your family once a week, there's nothing wrong with that once you get to the point where that doesn't turn into a spiral and that doesn't turn into a self-sabotage and that doesn't turn into something. And that could be a part of your self-care, sitting down and having a nice meal with Colin. I know that is for me with AJ, like when he has his days off, just sit, even if my meal is mine and his is his, and they're tracked differently and they're different foods and they're different, like just sitting down and spending that time together could be considered as self-care because I know a lot of people make things revolved around food. So,
Oh, yeah. I actually just got on a onboarding call with a client yesterday, and she's like, well, she's doing a gut protocol. So she's just like, well, I'm also dating. So like, what am I supposed to do if I'm not allowed to have meals out at restaurants? And I was like, girl, what you're supposed to do is plan dates that are activities, not dinners. Like go
go
to
to a
a
pottery
pottery
class.
plant. Jinx.
What the
Jinx,
fuck?
jinx. Like go to a pottery place, go bowling, go
Go to the
to
movies.
right. Go to like pick up a tea or a coffee from a little shop and go walk somewhere while the weather is nice. Like there's so many things that you can do that don't have to involve food. And I think we definitely got on a food tangent because
A little
there
bit.
is a huge self-care excuse there, I think, for a lot of people, and it makes sense. But um, I think the bottom line is that self-care does not equate comfortable all the time.
Yeah.
And it's really important to be super honest with yourself in the moment and be like, what do I actually need? Do I actually need the Ben and Jerry's? Do I need that? Is that going to help me? Or do I actually need to maybe consider getting a therapist?
Yeah. I
Like
can tell you the therapist, the Ben and Jerry's will most likely give you diarrhea. The therapist, not so much.
50-50. You don't
Yeah.
know. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. They might stress you out so much you get diarrhea. No,
That's true.
no, but pretty guaranteed digestive upset on the Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah.
If you get upset with the therapist, it's probably something that you need to hear. But we say that lovingly, guys. We say that lovingly. If you've ever heard any of our other podcast episodes before, you know that Sasha and I have also talked about how the people that you surround yourself with are kind of dictate how far you can go yourself. And if you start thinking about that and that makes you uncomfortable, that could be self care in itself too, and finding boundaries and maybe finding different friends and social connections that will actually support you to take better care of yourself. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the last thing I have to say about that. Sash, do you have any other words of wisdom? You made so many good points today. So I don't know if you got like a final like drop there.
No, I mean, that final thing that you said, I am a firm believer that your environment is a direct reflection of you. The five people that you surround yourself with are a direct reflection of you. The things that you do, the content that you consume, the people that you hang out with, they are a direct reflection of you, not a kind of reflection, but like straight up a reflection of you. And if that bothers you, if you don't like that, if you wouldn't take advice from them, if you don't want to live their kind of life, I would think twice about setting those boundaries, creating a different environment for yourself. And I think the biggest takeaway with all of this is the the greatest form of self-care and self-love and self-respect is having discipline
Mm.
and just being a disciplined person. That is something that is how I live my life, not in a army kind of sergeant way where it's like discipline, but yeah, you gotta
Structure, the
have that.
discipline to have structure.
Yeah, because you know what? Nowadays, everyone is so soft and uses everything as an excuse to just let shit slide and be complacent and fine with where they are, but then they're not really fine with where they are, and then they use all of this self-care as excuses. So the best thing that you can do for yourself in a self-care, in a self-love, in a self-respect kind of way is to develop an unshakable self-discipline and self-respect. And then you will truly feel that self-love and self-care. And yeah, that's what I got.
And your life will reflect that.
Exactly.
That was a good one. Dang. Well, thank you so much for all of your wisdom and insights. Thanks for joining me, Sash.
Yeah.
Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, if you like us, if you think we're cute, if you think we're entertaining, if you have any positive feelings towards us at all, please give me a thumbs up on YouTube, rate us 5 stars on Spotify, and go ahead and hop on over to Sasha's channel and check out her podcast sessions that drop every Sunday. But for us, we will see you on the next one every Monday.